Okay, mamas, be honest with me. Are hair days a battle between you and your little one? Did your little one cry each time a comb comes near them? Do you feel anxious when you think about doing their hair? If you answered yes, trust me, you're not alone. In today's video, I'll be sharing my top tips to help you get your little one to let you do their hair without any stress, any tears, and any pain. Hey, NC fam, welcome back to my channel. Now, mamas, when it comes to dealing with your little one's hair, I want you to understand a few things. The first thing is, I understand that it may give you anxiety even thinking about doing your little one's hair. But remember, being anxious for anything isn't helpful, especially when it comes to doing your little one's hair. And what it's going to do is it's going to keep letting you put off doing their hair whenever it's time to do their hair. And you know what that means, right? When you eventually get to do their hair, you're going to be dealing with a lot of knots, tangles, lint, breakage, etc. And that's going to take even longer when you actually do their hair on that day. So instead of putting hair days off, just remember you've got this and then get to work. The next thing I need you to do, mamas, is to change your mindset. Our mind is a powerful tool. I want you to see this phase as training. Yes, training them to enjoy hair days, training them to behave like how you want them to behave on hair days. Remember, they're just children. They don't know how to behave unless you teach and train them how to behave when you're doing their hair. This is exactly what I've been doing with my children from newborn up until now. And that's the reason why whenever you watch my videos, you see my children so calm and literally just doing their own thing, oblivious of what I'm doing to their hair. It didn't happen by mistake. It happened because I was intentional and because I trained them. Now, after changing your mindset, I'm going to need some of you to have more patience. Guys, take a chill pill. It takes time getting your little one to a point where they actually enjoy you doing their hair. Of course, with a sprinkle of consistency too. Like I mentioned before, we're dealing with children, just like potty training, sleep training, etc. It takes time, but eventually they do get the message. Our children are smart. They will get the message, but just be patient. Another thing I want you to do or get into a habit of doing when it comes to your little one's hair days is to actually plan it out. Get everything you need close to you. Be in control, be intentional, have everything you need ready. So the tools, products, etc. Be organized. This is going to go a long way when you're doing their hair, especially when you're dealing with children who don't have patience and when you don't have a lot of time. Okay, mamas, another thing I'm going to need you to do or stop doing is surprising your little ones when it comes to hair days. You want to give them prior notice, okay? You don't just want to pull up on them with a comb or whatever and start doing their hair. We need to give them prior notice. This helps them to mentally prepare for what's to come and even get excited for you doing their hair. But surprising them or just out of the blue doing their hair isn't the one. Waiting for your little one to fall asleep before you do their hair or to fall asleep while you're doing their hair sounds like the perfect plan, especially if your little one doesn't enjoy you doing their hair in the first place. Trust me, mamas, this isn't a good plan and it isn't good in the long run. And I'll tell you why. Remember, we want them to get used to you doing their hair. And how are they supposed to get used to you doing their hair if they're always asleep when you're doing their hair? It isn't going to work in the long run. So be sure to do their hair when they aren't tired. Be sure to do their hair when they've had a nap. It works out better for you in the long run and better for them in the long run because they actually get used to you doing their hair. Mamas, have you ever tried to do your little one's hair when they're hungry, unwell, etc.? I have. Big mistake. They need to be in the right mood. If they're hungry, if they're tired, if they're unwell, hair days are going to be a disaster for you. It's going to be stressful for you and it's going to be tearful for them. So please ensure that your little ones have eaten and that they're well and that overall they're just in a good mood. Another thing I want you to get better at, mamas, is sticking to a routine. Children love routines and consistency. So doing their hair infrequently, doing their hair whenever you feel like it or whenever you think their hair is dirty will only make the whole process of them getting used to you doing their hair take longer. So stay consistent, have a routine so they know what to expect, and things will go way smoother in the long run. Mamas, please be kind to your little ones when you're doing their hair. So no shouting, no hitting, just relax. They can feel your vibes. If you're always shouting, always in a bad mood when you're doing their hair, it isn't going to work. Hair days, once again, isn't going to be fun for any of you. Hey mamas, before we get into my top tips, if you're struggling to create an effective regime for your little one's hair, you're not sure what components are supposed to be in an effective regime, you're not sure where to start, you're lost, you're confused, worry no more. Just click the link below this video and get access to this free guide that's really going to put all the missing puzzles together and help you create that effective regime that actually works. Okay, mama. So a lot of you have asked me, why your little one hates getting their hair done. And to be honest, there could be several reasons for this. One of the typical reasons is possibly a bad experience. So bad experience like feeling pain when you were manipulating or detangling their hair, or maybe on wash days, getting water in their eyes or getting, shampoo in their eyes was uncomfortable for them. They didn't like it. And even though they're young, they do remember, and sometimes they have a hard time forgetting and trusting you to do their hair. And because they don't trust you to do their hair, it becomes a nightmare for both of you. So in order to eliminate any kind of pain, stress, tears, frustration, and for them to trust you to do their hair again on wash days and when you're moisturizing their hair, here are my top tips. So when it comes to re-moisturizing your little one's hair, and I don't mean when you're moisturizing your little one's hair on wash day, but when you're re-moisturizing your little one's hair during the week, don't create fresh parts or change their styles completely. This is just going to create more manipulation and possibly more pain. Keep the same parts. As you can see from this video, I didn't change the parts. I literally kept the same parts, and now I am moisturizing my son's hair. It's much more easier and less painful to manipulate your little one's hair on wash days when the hair is damp and has been fully detangled. My other tip is not to detangle your little one's hair with any tools when you're remoisturizing their hair. You just want to use your fingers if you need to detangle their hair. Now, this may seem strange to you, or you may be thinking, how is this even going to work? It does work. If you've been keeping up with your little one's routine or regime, this shouldn't be a problem at all, shouldn't be difficult for you. So on the note of detangling, another thing to remember is that you don't want to detangle your little one's hair when it's dry. So when you're re-moisturizing their hair, you want to make sure that you've at least spritzed their hair with a little bit of water. This is going to allow the hair to be slightly damp, not wet, slightly damp, which is going to give the hair a bit more flexibility and help you manipulate their hair way easier, which will cause less pain. Also, this isn't a time for a thorough detangling session. You want to save that for wash days. You're only doing a light finger detangle with your fingers to remove some shed hair and possibly any little tangles that may be present while you're remoisturizing their hair. This will help with the maintenance of their hair and also just make it much easier for you when you're, remoisturizing their hair, and less painful for them as well. My other tip when you're remoisturizing your little one's hair is to get them a special chair. So maybe a chair that you've both decorated together, or just a special chair dedicated to hair days, or for your little ones and the younger ones, a high chair, for example, or even a stool for your older little ones. And this is going to help them to stay seated. You don't have to do their hair on your lap, for example, which isn't comfortable for either of you. And then also it's going to help them to get used to you doing their hair while seated. It also gives you that control while you're doing their hair, makes them feel comfortable, and also it gets them excited knowing that they're going to be sitting in their special seat or chair. My other tip when remoisturizing your little one's hair is to get them distracted, and that's distracted with some screen time, for example, some snacks, some toys, etc. And this is going to keep them occupied and take their mind off of what you're doing, that's doing their hair. For your little ones that are a little bit older, let them get involved. Let them pick their favorite accessories, styles, etc. This makes it fun for them and makes them feel like they are part of hair days. Mamas, don't forget to download your free guide. If you're struggling to create an effective regime for your little one, you definitely want to get this guide, okay? So click the link below this video to get access. Okay, Mama, so here are my tips to make wash day more enjoyable, less stress, less tears, and less painful. So the first thing is to ensure that you don't go long stretches without washing your little one's hair. I know this sounds ideal, especially when they don't enjoy you doing their hair, but trust me, you don't want to do this. One, because they get out of a consistent routine, which isn't helpful. Secondly, their hair will thank you for this, which means less tangles, less shedding, which means less time spent on doing their hair and less time spent on detangling, less pain, and less breakage. So it's a win-win situation. So you want to keep their wash days within the 7 maximum 14-day period. Another tip for you when it comes to wash days is to keep your little one's wash days as short as possible. So we want to do the basics and what's actually needed. This isn't the time for all of the extra steps and experimenting with the various DIY treatments that you've seen on YouTube. We basically want to shampoo, condition, and detangle, or deep condition and detangle, and then moisturize and style. Remember, children don't have patience for long hair days. Long hair days equal stress, frustration, and tears. I mean, even you don't like long hair days or wash days, so why would they? For those of you that have little ones that don't like water going on their face or their eyes for whatever reason, you could try, for example, using a hair wash visor, maybe like a flannel over their eyes or their face while you're rinsing their hair. For your little one, sorry, that are a little bit older, you can tell them to tilt their head backwards. If they're able to follow instructions, tilt their head backwards while you rinse the shampoo from their hair. Or for those that don't even like getting in the bath or the shower when you're doing their hair, washing their hair, you can do it out of the bath, for example, in your kitchen. I know this is quite popular in the US and Canada. You wash your little one's hair with them laying on the worktop, with their head kind of bent backwards over the kitchen sink using like a rinser. That's another option as well for those that don't like getting in the bath or the shower to wash their hair. Now this is going to help them to feel less reluctant and less fearful when it comes to wash days. Now, if it's been a while since you have washed your little one's hair or your little one's hair is tangle prone, you want to get as much of the knots and tangles and even the shed hair out of the hair before you shampoo and before you thoroughly detangle, because you're going to detangle again on wash day. But it's going to be so much easier if you do this prep before you actually immerse their hair in water, saturate their hair with water, shampoo, etc. It's going to be so much easier. So you want to finger detangle in sections using some oil. If it's been a while, like I said, since you wash your little one's hair, you can add some water for a bit more flexibility. You can even use conditioning water as well, and you want to do this before you shampoo your little one's hair, and this is going to avoid any kind of pain, excessive breakage, excessive tangling, etc. This is actually why I always advise the mamas that I work with to not go long stretches without washing their little one's hair. It just makes wash day so much easier, so much shorter, and that's what we all want: shorter wash days, less stress, less tangles, and less pain. Again, on wash days, just like when you're remoisturizing your little one's hair, we need some distractions to help get their mind off of what you're doing. So any kind of bath toys, for example. This is one that I recently got for my 2-year-old, and it's been amazing. She loves it, and it kept her distracted for a good while I washed her hair. Even dolls as well. If your little one's into dolls, you can get them to wash their doll's hair. For your little boys, bath toys like toy cars, for example. Anything, just distract them while they're in the bath or shower when you're washing their hair. You can even sing, talk to them. Just try and distract them as much as possible so that they find wash day fun and get excited for it as well. Another tip for you for wash day is to be super gentle when manipulating or detangling your little one's hair. You also want to ensure that you're using the right hair techniques as well when you're detangling, and this is going to help to eliminate any kind of pain or trauma, tears, or fear of even getting the hair done in the first place. We want to make sure that we're detangling with our fingers first, and then using tools like a comb or detangling brush, ensuring that the hair has conditioner in it first and that it is damp or wet. This is just going to make it easier for you to detangle the hair without them feeling any kind of pain. And please don't detangle the hair when it's dry. This is going to cause a lot of pain for them and a lot of fear, trauma, and just no, we don't want to be doing that. Okay, we don't want them to associate wash days with pain, or whenever you tangle the hair, we don't want them to associate that with pain. Okay, mamas, so choose your styles wisely on wash days. This isn't the time to do intricate styles or try out new styles that you haven't done before, which is going to take time to do. We want a style that isn't going to take too long. Remember, we're dealing with children here, they don't have much patience. So do simple, easy styles that can be done fairly quickly, so you're not taking too long when it comes to doing their hair, and so they're not getting frustrated, tired, and becoming very impatient with you. All my children have been hair trained. Okay, you've seen them in my videos, you've seen how well behaved they are when I'm doing their hair. If you want to know my secret to hair training my children right from newborn, check out the video on the bottom left hand corner of this screen, and I share all my secrets on how I'm able to get my children to enjoy hair days.